Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. We have today from Woodstock, Connecticut, the author R.F. Mineo, and we like to call him Rich, so we'll be calling him Rich during the show. And he has written 2 books. All right, the first one was Fatal Conspiracies. All right, and your grandson did the cover, am I correct?
He certainly did, yes.
How old's your grandson?
He's 20 now. He's at the University of Michigan.
Is he an artist?
He's an engineer.
He's
going to be an engineer.
He is good. And then the second one, this year, in August?
August of this year, yes.
Cargill Falls, the Mill Conspiracy. Now, the Mill Conspiracy, would you like us also to have the Cargill Falls as part of the
title?
Okay.
That's an important part of the title.
Okay,
yes.
all right. Yep. Now, he did this one too.
He did both, yes.
How old were you? Well, you told me, but when did you start getting interested in writing?
Oh, probably 5, 6 years ago. Got really interested about 3 years ago. And I was 76 when I published the first book.
76 on your first book.
Yeah.
Hear that, kids? You can start at any age.
Yes.
Any age.
Absolutely.
Did you have an idea of the story behind this series long ago? Oh.
Yes. I worked for DuPont Merck Pharmaceutical Company in Garden City, Long Island.
Yeah.
Moved up here later, did some other things. I started thinking about the pharmaceutical business would be an interesting story. Thinking about companies downsizing, companies with access to maybe manipulate some of their drugs.
Right.
And I decided to try to combine that into Conspiracies and wrote the novel. And it's basically a novel that...
You sure did.
Yeah.
You should see. When you first opened this book, this was the first one.
The first one, yep.
Fatal Conspiracies. You should see these 2 pages. Purity Pharmaceuticals structured. He's neatly put McKinsey Chemical Company, Saga, he's got all the different pharmaceuticals here, the directors, the names. He's got it down to even Garden City, New York.
Right, New York, yeah.
Did it take long to think up these names?
No. I just kind of made them up as I went along.
It just came along.
Yeah.
Now, I like the authors to give us, not me, but the authors usually, of the story. So tell us how it kind of begins. What's the basic of it?
The basics of the story is it's a pharmaceutical company that's a joint venture between 2 large companies, and they're having issues with too many people, too high a cost, or they're thinking of, they had done some downsizing and it caused them production problems, and they're still going through that even though they're profitable.
Yep.
And all of a sudden executives start getting killed. And that's the way it starts, and that's the way it goes until 2 guys, a white executive from the pharmaceutical company and a black homicide detective, join forces and solve the mystery. That's the way it goes.
Now the mystery, they sensed that something was really haywire. What was going on?
Well, yeah. Well, people started being killed, for one, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you notice the back, the pills. Now, I don't want to give it away. You don't have to, but were customers dying?
No.
No.
Customers weren't executives of the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah. I mean, did price come into this at all? Were they fighting conspiracy about the lowering or uppering the prices, things like that?
No, that didn't come into it at all.
That didn't do it at all. How long did it take you to write this?
I think I started when I first moved up to Woodstock, which was I moved up 30 years ago, probably 20 years ago, and then I put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And the story goes, I put my DNA on 23andMe. I had that out there. And I found a second cousin on 23andMe who was helped the author's business. He lived in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and he collaborated with me and started to kind of help me, guided me through.
He inspired you a little bit.
Well, and he guided me through the process of writing the book, formatting it, doing all the
like
things
a
he had to do.
mentor.
He was a mentor, yes.
And he was an author too.
He's written a couple of novels, yes. So.
And he liked the story, so he helped you carry it on.
Yes, he thought the story had some merit, and he helped me structure.
Now,
it.
this was before you moved up to Woodstock.
No, I was in Woodstock.
You were already there.
He was in Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
You lived in Pennsylvania before you moved up here.
I lived. I lived a lot of places. Yes, I lived in Long Island before we moved up here.
By the way, Huntington by any chance?
Close. I lived in Oyster Bay.
My college roommate was in Huntington.
Yeah, it was right up the road. Was Huntington. Lived in Oyster Bay.
Then from where?
Before that, we were in Elkton, Maryland, Newtown, Connecticut, Wilmington, Delaware, Newark, Delaware.
Were you married at the time?
We've been married for 60 years.
They have 2 children.
Yeah.
A boy and a girl?
Yes. Millionaire's family.
Why? Now, what does your son do?
He has a master's degree in mechanical engineering, and he works in the pharmaceutical business.
Oh, here we go.
in Raleigh, North Carolina, in Research Triangle Park, and his wife is a engineer also, and she works in the pharmaceutical business as a consultant. So,
I bet they both loved the book.
Yes, they both.
The gun idea, almost pointing towards this guy's head.
I know.
What do you think? What do you make of that?
It's almost what the reader wants to make of it. Is he thinking about killing somebody? Is he thinking about,
suicide?
Well, there might be some of that in there too.
Yeah, he almost looks like a mafia dude.
Yeah, well, he's actually not a bad-looking guy. It's just that he's shadowed out,
He was creepers. Now, once you got this out, this was in 23.
Actually, 23. It was January of 23 is when it really got released.
23.
Yep.
And it only took you, this guy's amazing, a year.
Yeah.
A year. Less than a year.
No, it took me a year and a little bit.
To follow up with the second part.
And I type with one finger.
You type with one finger?
When?
So when you sit down are you a night writer, or do you get up very early in the morning and start?
Morning.
You're a morning person.
Yeah, morning. And I grind away until I'm done.
Cargill Falls, that's where it took place.
Yep.
The Mill Conspiracy. Now, this was something different. Tell us about this one.
That book, a lot's going on in that book. There's a mill, a large old mill, built in the 1600s, 1700s, under renovation. And people come to believe there's a Civil War treasure buried in the mill, and people start getting there's some murder going on, and there's a hunt throughout the whole novel for the Civil War treasure. How did they find out about this and get the bug in their ear about it? As it was being renovated, one of the men in charge of the renovation found a small box of Civil War items, artifacts. Yeah. And that's all they found. But he let the cat out of the bag. Well, no, he told some guys that were pretty evil. And they let the cat out of the bag. Well, they start killing people, yeah. And so the whole town got in on this. Just about, well, there was a lot of people looking for the treasure. Yep. 2 things happened in the novel. One is I had to come up with a way, how did the treasure from the Civil War get into a mill in Putnam, Connecticut? Because it's really, I know where Putnam, really Putnam, Connecticut. I know where Putnam is, yeah. So that was a dilemma I had, and I had to create a way for the treasure to get, a believable way, hopefully, for the treasure to get there. And I based it on some research I did about the Civil War and some Confederate soldiers who were raiding houses and stealing things, and a true story, and it's based on them. And this is based on a true story. Cargill Falls, it's real. Cargill Falls
is in what state?
It's in Putnam, Connecticut.
It's in Putnam?
Yeah, that's the main falls in Putnam, Connecticut.
I have been in Putnam. I just visited. There was a field. That's all I remember, and Walmart.
Well, the falls are down the road. They're down Route 44 from there.
And this is built. This was true story. Well, it's historical fiction, basically.
It's fiction. It's all fiction, but kind of based in some things that are real.
Happened.
Yeah, that happened in the Civil War. Yeah.
And what he has done is he has done a marvelous job of saluting the people who have helped him with this book. There was Rick Solano. He was the owner.
That's the mentor.
Yep,
That's
he was
my
your
cousin.
mentor.
Yep.
Owner of My Ink Shines. What is that?
That is a small company that he has that helps authors write books, get through the self-publishing process. And he helps them do that, and he reads, and he'll help you with, I don't know if you got this quite right, or and he's very good.
And he's your cousin.
Yeah.
How lucky can you get?
Yeah. Extremely lucky.
The next one is, let's see, Vincent, my grandson. Vincent Bourgeois. Bourgeois.
Yes.
You're French?
Very French.
My grandson. Are you French?
Nope.
Nope.
Mineo. Well, there's a long story. I don't know if you want to hear it, but yeah.
You know, when I first saw him advertised where he was going to be showing, I saw his last name, and he kidded me. He said, you thought I was going to be Sal Mineo, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
And you are related to them.
Yes, I am.
Wasn't he killed?
Yes. He was murdered.
Why? Did you ever figure that one out?
Yeah, his murderer was found while we were in California in 1979, visiting, not him, but visiting California.
Sure.
And he was a robbery. It was basically a robbery.
Sal Mineo was a robber?
He was robbed at knife point as he was going home.
Was it in California?
In California, yes.
And they got the guy.
They got him 3 years later. He was murdered in '76, and the murderer was found in 1979. So,
and my wife, Wanda, who is here,
yes,
I'm delighted to have her. She's watching the show. Her dedication to promoting fatal conspiracies in a restaurant, as a testament to her unwavering support and belief in my work, her tireless efforts at events and signings, and her keen ability to seize every promotional opportunity have undoubtedly contributed to the success of Fatal Conspiracies. It's clear that such a long-standing partnership, what a beautiful marriage, as ours is built on mutual respect and shared goals, making Wanda not just a spouse, but a true pillar of support in both life and work. And together, they formed a formidable team that elevated Cargill Falls to new heights. And the cover image was provided by New England Waterfalls.com,
yes.
Now, that wasn't your grandson.
Well, I got the image from that website, which I got to tell you, they were very nice. A lot of times people will charge for that.
Yeah.
They said, no, go ahead, use it, no problem. My grandson darkened it up and made it kind of a little more mysterious, and so he did a lot.
He probably did the top.
And he did the Cargill Falls and the Milk Conspiracy.
I love the way he uses black and white.
Yep.
Grandson, you're sharp, because that's your granddad's books stand out like beacons. You know, if you have them in the library, people want to, or at book sales, things, books like this. How do you walk by somebody who hasn't got something that stands out like this? Now tell us where you have been for presentations. Go for it.
I'll start with this year, since we've put out Cargill Falls.
Yeah.
Where were we first? Let me just. I'm drawing a blank. I'm getting old.
It's
drawing
okay.
a blank.
First Congregation of Church.
We've done. I actually have it written down.
He's got a list.
Yeah, so
Okay, the first place you went to. Oh my God! Look at this.
Well, the first place was an interview on Rhode Island radio.
Radio.
Radio, yes.
Yeah. It was a PRO.
Rhode Island NPO. No, it's not NPO.
NPR?
No.
No?
It was Bishop.
Bishop.
Yeah. Of course, I'm doing this interview today. We were at the Woodstock Congregational Church on the 19th and 20th of October
Yeah.
for a major sale, and that's where we bundled some of the books for Christmas, and
This is
did
a
very well.
great time of the year right now
Yeah.
to be an author.
Pourings and Passages in Killingly, Connecticut, which is a used bookstore that's done as a charitable operation to support one of the local churches.
How did you hear about it?
We know the guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and he wanted to have some local authors, so there's that. Of course, we're here. We're going to Book Lovers Gourmet on the 23rd of November.
My audience knows that so many times I mentioned the Book Lovers Gourmet.
Yeah,
Deb Horan runs it, and it's right out in Webster, right
Webster.
off the main drag. You can't miss it.
Yeah, we're going to be there from 1 to 3 on the 23rd.
Yeah.
After that, I'll be at the Courthouse Bar and Grill in Putnam, Connecticut, on the 30th.
Perfect for the story.
From 12 to 2. I'll be at the Putnam Public Library on
Make
School
sure
Street.
that does Putnam have its own, many towns have their own newspapers.
Yes, they're publicizing it as part of the
Okay,
Historical Society is starting to publish it.
Okay, and do they have cable? Because you can take your interview today. It's yours. It's yours to take to any venue you
Yes,
wish.
yeah. I
So
understand.
get that out there, especially in Putnam. You're going to have, I would think, a lot of people.
Well, that's what's been happening, yes. That's been interesting. I'm also going to do the Holiday Craft Show at the East Woodstock Congregational Church
In Connecticut?
in Woodstock, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last one that's scheduled is a book signing in Killingly, Connecticut on the 28th of January.
Now, have you heard at all about, in Rhode Island, not a far trip for you, Steve Porter, who owns his own bookstore, and he runs this. It's the Rhode Island Authors Expo every December. It's packed, and now they've moved into a beautiful hotel, and I will give you information about this.
Yeah, I have not heard of them. Yeah.
You would absolutely love it. It's filled with authors from different genres, and when you walk in, you're like, oh my God, I was just visiting. And part of my job is to meet as many authors as I can, too. But my gosh, you go down the aisle, I felt like almost guilty, like I can't stop at every single... Even the authors that I talked to were overwhelmed. And sometimes they have educational little classes in one of the rooms that they have there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a huge, the December Rhode Island Authors Expo.
I'll have to look
Steve
it up.
Porter, I'll write
Steve
that down
Porter,
for you.
okay.
And I can send you information, but he's quite, hi Steve, he's shout out to him. Fantastic. Having his own bookstore, he's helped many authors. It's like an indie bookstore, independent.
Yeah, an independent. Yeah.
Now that brings me to up here. We got to get you up here, because up here in the Worcester area, central Massachusetts, we are loaded. We have, right down the street, I told you, in Westboro, there's the wonderful Tatnock bookseller. That is extremely popular. It even has a large event room if you would like to put seats there and do a presentation about your books and your stories. Or you can sit, up front maybe more and just kind of be a little I say shyer, but you're not that shy because you've been to already to showing your book at different places. You're not shy about that. Where are you going after the last one you mentioned? Have you got anything coming up?
After January? No.
No.
Not scheduled yet.
So, I can't tell you how many throughout New England. I ask an author, where are you willing to travel to? And people are listening to you. If they're out there and they say, let's get this guy in here, let's get him. How far are you willing to travel?
No limit. I
The
can go anywhere.
limit-
I'll go anywhere.
Past New England,
Oh, yeah.
you'll go to New York State.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll go
you'll go to New York.
Pennsylvania. Sure. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania anyway.
Okay, that's excellent, because that makes the list of your contacts almost 100 times better, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, as a publicist, I have a blast helping authors. I mean, I get them everywhere. But your two books, you must have the next one coming up soon.
Aren't I a little bit too old to write another book? I'm kidding.
Are you kidding me? No way. Are you?
I don't know. I'm just taking a little break now because we're doing a lot of marketing. But I have a couple of thoughts for another.
What are they? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that if you, the way Cargill Falls wrapped up was the Jim Hines, the homicide detective, started consulting with the Connecticut State Police, and he moved to Cargill Falls,
Yeah.
and so he lives there.
Yeah.
And the retired pharmaceutical executive, Phil Messina, also lives in Cargill Falls, but he's kind of like, I don't want to do much work anymore. So they're going to have a mystery that involves a serial killer that I haven't really, scoped out yet, but that's going to be the, at least my thought right now.
So
is
that's sort of a bit of a step away from the other books.
a little bit, yeah, but it's going to be those two guys.
A real thriller.
Yeah, I've got some ideas on how to make it interesting and intriguing.
And I think you mentioned another book, too. Another idea you had? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's it. I mean, that's going to take a year or so.
I want to
at
read
least.
that, too, because I love thrillers. Mysteries get me every time. So maybe you'll, spring or summer, you'll start writing.
Maybe winter. Yeah, start writing.
Oh, this winter?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
When you say you type
Yeah.
one finger, do you have an electronic, do you have a regular typewriter with computer?
No, I have a keyboard with a computer. Yeah.
You don't have the old-fashioned typewriter that...
No.
I picture you like this.
No, but I do that on the computer. I type one.
You do that
one
on the
at a time.
computer?
Yeah.
How, do you type fast?
No.
No.
Slow.
When you write a book, Rich, it's
Rich.
Yes, Rich. I want to keep wanting to call him RF. And while I'm at it, his author's name is RF Mineo. He wants to be called Rich, and he has written the two books. First of all, Fatal Conspiracies, and Cargill. It happens in Cargill Falls in Putnam, Connecticut. The Mill Conspiracy. How can they get a hold of you and your books?
How can they get me? Amazon is one source. Book Lovers Gourmet is another source. Pourings and Passages in Killingly, Connecticut is another source. BarnesandNoble.com is another source. Actually, I'm also working with Google Books right now to try to get some books on there. I've got their wholesale on Ingram Spark, both novels. That's about it. So a lot of access to different ways to get the book, to get the novels.
You didn't retire yet, did you?
I retired in 1995
That was
from
early.
corporate America.
From corporate America.
Then I did a few things
Yeah.
and decided it was time for a kind of a late life revival and started writing.
Well, you're on your way. Let me tell you, this third book coming up is going to be interesting. Any of you out there, we've got just about 3 or 4 minutes. Any of you who live in Putnam, Connecticut, don't forget Cargill Falls, the Mill Conspiracy, okay? And my former mother-in-law lived in Putnam, and I never even heard of Cargill Falls. Well, I wish I had. And then Fatal Conspiracies. This was Rich's first book. R.F. Mineo, okay? If you want to look him up as an author, R.F. Mineo, okay? Fatal Conspiracies. And his grandson did this cover. And his grandson did the writing, right, on this
Well,
one.
he edited the
And he
edited
yeah.
a photograph. Yeah.
He did. He did it
And he set
absolutely.
the whole thing up.
Excellent job. What do your kids think of your books?
So far, my kids.
Yeah.
My daughter thinks it's marvelous that I'm doing stuff like this. She thinks it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
and it's great. My son is reading the second one now,
Yeah.
and he remembers a lot of stuff we've talked about over the years, and because about life and
Yeah.
because I throw a lot of stuff in that I consider
Yeah.
my kind of view of life, and
Right.
I've been around a few years, so I've got a lot of views on life.
Rich, if somebody wants to ask you, invite you to come and speak, book signing, that type of thing, do you want to give out your email?
Yep, sure.
Right? Go for it.
rmineo46@outlook.com. That's rmineo46@outlook.com, and the 46 is easy because that's the year
Yep.
I was born.
You, he caught the boomers right at the
Right at
first
the-
year. Now, does your wife ever come up with ideas for books?
Yes, we talk. Well, we talk about how to, when I'm in the middle of a story and I've kind of written myself into a corner
Yeah.
and I need to bail out, we'll talk about kind of how to get out of it. And
Yeah.
sometimes I just lay in bed and it comes to me. So there's
Do you
ways.
keep I know that a lot of authors keep notes beside them in the car to quickly write something down at a red light, or a note beside your bed at night if you think.
I know you won't believe this because I was struggling a little bit with the where I've been. But
Yeah.
I remember when I'm writing a book, I remember every thought I have. I just know where I'm going or know what I want to do, and sometimes I learn how to get there.
We have to say goodbye, but we're going to have you back, right? With
If
your
you want
next
me
book,
back.
you better. With the thriller coming up, do you have an idea what the title would be?
No,
Darn.
no. But I have an idea how to make it very mysterious on the serial
I can't
killer
wait.
side.
Oh, you definitely got to let us know.
I thought the killer or the assassin in Cargill Falls was
That was pretty weird too.
interesting. Yeah,
That was that they kind of can get you.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever read your books again, over and over?
I read them once. But actually, when you're writing it, you go through it 100 times. So
Yeah, you'll go through it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't remember every
Do
detail.
you write, or do you just type as you think?
I type as I think.
Well, we're going to have to say goodbye. We will see you next time on Be My Guest, and hopefully we'll have Rich Mineo on again with his new thriller
With the
coming
new
up.
one.
See you later.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.